League of Legends is all about concepts, game knowledge. Mechanics are nowhere near as important. If you learn all the concepts and bring them all together, you easily make it to at least Masters. Then you have to refine them and actually get good at the game, and that's what the climb from Masters to Challenger is. Just missing one or two important concepts can make you lose a lane, especially against a player that isn't missing that game knowledge. Today I'm going to show you a perfect example of this in a low platinum MMR game where I'm on Jax vs Mordekaiser. I'm going to break down a bunch of different concepts where they all could lead to a won or lost lane. Don't worry if you don't play Jax or Mordekaiser though, as the concepts will apply to any champion. So let's jump right into this lane. One could argue level 1 is the most important part of top lane, as it dictates the next 3 levels. And like I always say, in low elo, I win lane in the first 3 levels 90% of the time. You need to know who's stronger at level 1 in any matchup that you play. Do you know who's stronger here? Well, even if you don't have the matchup experience, like me, you could know who wins level 1 here just by thinking about 2 things. First, Mordekaiser is an AP champion, where Jax is an AD one. This normally means the AD champion will win a long extended fight. On top of this, Jax starts E at level 1, which blocks autos from minions and champions. This is obviously really important when autos are going to be the main form of damage when both champions only have one ability. The thing is, Mordekaiser Q, which is what he starts at level 1, is a shorter cooldown than Jax E, so Mord wants to avoid a level 1 all-in and just poke with Q. Remember how I said just missing one piece of game knowledge can win or lose the lane? Well, I actually don't have the matchup experience here, but because of the things I just talked about, I look for a level 1 all-in when he walks up and auto-attacks me here. I make sure to turn on my E after auto-attacking Mord, because that's when his minions will start hitting me. The more minion autos I soak, the more damage my E will do. I should have turned it on to block Mord's first auto, but I mistimed it. At this point, I have my passive on and Conquer, and we established that I win all in. Sadly, I waste an auto attack on a minion, which made me feel like I would lose the fight because of his Q coming up. He flashes to try and finish me off, but I flash as well and survive. So, because I accidentally auto-attacked a minion, I don't punish the Mord and end up having to flash away. I should have easily got first blood here, because he didn't respect that my level 1 was stronger. I start a corrupting potion though, and have biscuits, so I have plenty of sustain. I don't need to recall. On top of this, I have the push advantage since I was auto-attacking minions at level 1. Remember how I said the level 1 determines the next 2 levels as well? Even when I have lower health than him, I still am in control of the lane for these first 3 waves. Level advantages are too important. With this big health disadvantage, I would still win 1v1 if I jumped in right now. It's important that I control the minion wave properly from here though. If I push too fast right now, the wave will half crash on the tower, meaning the melee minions will be in tower range and the ranged ones won't. Then the next wave will arrive and Mordekaiser will be able to safely farm under tower and will hit level 3 around the same time as me. It will be really hard to fully crash the wave to get a good recall off if that happens. This is an extremely common mistake in low elo and top lane. You want to crash 3 waves, which makes the enemy laner take a long time under tower to farm the wave and it will slow push back towards you. This also makes it so you don't have to TP back to lane. I'll show you exactly what I mean here. And again, this is one of those core pieces of information that you need to understand or you lose or miss an opportunity to win a lane. Anyways, getting back to the gameplay, I'm basically last sitting at this point because I need to make sure I don't finish clearing this wave until the next wave gets here. Mordekaiser is respecting my level 2 as well, but if he walks up, I would definitely look for a trade. I used my Q here to get the CS though, and I knew he would hit level 2 from this minion, so I didn't trade with my Q down. Now the 3rd wave is arriving and Mordekaiser actually clears a big chunk of it with his Q and his E. But since he doesn't have those, I'm free to hit the minions. I'm fully focused on clearing this cannon wave and crashing it for a reset. But I hit level 3 here, so I jump in for a trade with my level advantage. This isn't to kill him or anything though, it's just to weaken him so he can't pressure me while I'm trying to crash the wave. I didn't use my E there though, since that's a big cooldown and without it, I'm much more vulnerable. And when Mordekaiser walks up to try and trade back, then I use my E. You might not know this, but Jax E reduces the AoE damage he takes when he's using it. So I reduced Mord's Q damage while also using the AoE damage from the E to hit all of the minions. I had to make sure that the cannon minion actually got into tower range though. If it didn't, I would only have 2 options. Either stay and try and crash the next wave, or recall and TP back right away. This is because the wave would freeze, so if I didn't TP back to lane, I would lose a ton of minions as I ran back. Enough minions that the lane can easily be decided by that. You might be wondering why the wave won't freeze when there are still 3 minions there after the cannon dies. And that's because you need at least 4 minions to actually freeze. Those 3 ranged ones aren't enough, especially when they are missing a lot of health already. The wave will slow push to me at this point. Now this is another crucial part of the lane. Like I said, it's slow pushing to me, so I don't have to TP back. I will have my gold spend here when I get back, and Mordekaiser won't. So I will have the item advantage. But since it's slow pushing, he'll have a minion advantage and a level advantage. If I'm someone like Irelia here, where I can easily clear a bunch of minions, I have a ton of kill pressure. Jax is good in this scenario too because his E avoids minion damage, but I still have to be careful. Best case scenario would be, I bait out Mordekaiser's Q and E and dodge them, and then I just all in. If Mordekaiser doesn't want to take the risk of dying here, he can recall now and TP back to lane, but then I'll have the TP advantage. Let's see what happens though. When I walk into lane, you see the footsies I'm playing right away, walking in and out of his Q and E range to try and bait it. but once he clears my wave, I have to back off even after he uses his Q. Now that my next wave is here, I want to try and kill as many minions as possible so I can hit level 4, along with trimming the wave down to prepare for my all-in. While doing that, I'm trying to bait out his abilities like I talked about earlier. This means when I walk up for some CS, I'll just let them die since I'm anticipating that he'll try to contest it. It's kind of tricky doing this in low elo since I don't know what they are thinking. This applies to skill shots as well. It's really hard to dodge low elo player skill shots since it feels like they're just random. It's 100% easier to dodge high elo player skill shots. Mordekaiser walks into the brush though, so as I walk up and clear some minions, I ward the brush to see if he's recalling in it. If he was, I would definitely stop him last second since I might have a chance to kill him here. Sadly, Mordekaiser hits me with an isolated Q here and hits level 5, then hits me with another isolated Q to make me too low to fight him. At this point, I won't be able to use my item advantage to look for a kill, but that's fine. I'm not in a terrible spot or anything. Although if it was high elo, I could easily be dove. I'm just going to let Mordekaiser crash the wave at this point. But while I'm doing that, my Skarner shows up trying to gank. So what I do next is an extremely important concept that many players fail to understand or know. I can't help my Skarner in this gank. If he can kill Mord alone, that's great. But the risk reward here isn't good for me. It's way too risky. If I try to help here and the enemy jungler counter ganks, we lose the 2v2 since I'm level 4 and have half health. I would die and lose all these minions and my lane would be unplayable. On top of this, if I help Skarner here and chase the Mordekaiser, I'll still lose all these minions at the tower, so I won't even be gaining that much if we kill him, especially if I get the assist and not the kill, then it actually wouldn't have been worth it. For these reasons, I don't help Skarner and I just focus on the wave. Notice what I do with it though. I don't just let it crash. I use my E to tank it and avoid letting the wave crash on the tower. This is because I want to freeze, and if Skarner kills Mord or even chunks him hard enough to make him recall, Mord would be forced to TP back to lane because of the freeze. But when I noticed that Skarner backed off early and didn't really chunk Mordekaiser, I just let the wave crash. So I'll be honest here, this Mordekaiser has played pretty well so far. He's exceeded my expectations. This is where he starts to slip up though, because he's missing some important fundamental concepts. It only takes one, remember. As I'm clearing this wave, I notice my low health makes the Mordekaiser stay in lane and he's sitting in the brush. He might have forgotten that I warded it earlier. But this is a huge mistake from him, since he could get a big advantage from just recalling after the Skarner gank. Just like we talked about earlier with what I did to him in the first 3 levels. The wave will slow push back to him, so he could walk back to lane, and I'm so low that I would be forced to recall and use TP since the wave would be frozen. I wouldn't be able to crash the wave on his tower before he got back. Then he would have the TP advantage. To punish this, I'm going to act like I'm recalling to bait him out of the brush. Before we see what happens, let's say neither of us touch the wave from this point. Will the push to him, push to me, or stay where it is? Because of the even minion rule, meaning when the waves are even, it will push the opposite way, it's slow pushing to him. So I don't stop my recall to bait him into using an AoE ability on the wave, either his Q or his E. Now the wave is pushing to me, and look at where my next wave is. It's close enough that the Mordekaiser won't be able to crash the current wave before my next one gets here, so I start channeling my recall. I buy a Sheen, which is a big power spike for Jax, and TP back to lane right away while Mordekaiser is trying to clear the cannon wave. Last time, I only had a longsword advantage on him. This time though, I have the longsword plus an entire Sheen. Mordekaiser has overstayed his welcome a bit too long now. So when I TP in, I gladly take the fight, even though he's level 6 and I'm level 5. My item advantage is too big, especially when he's missing this much health already. So I get the kill. Like I said, it only takes one piece of game knowledge that you could be missing that your opponent can use against you like this. Alright guys, so as you can see, game knowledge is just too important in League. Much more important than mechanics. But we're giving you everything you need to know in our videos. If you pay attention and implement the concepts, you can climb easily.
So you might be asking yourself, why go to SkillCapped.com to improve when I could just watch YouTube guides or play the game? Well, let me show you. Let's say you're a top laner who's struggling to climb the ladder. Not only would you get over 45 site exclusive courses for top lane, but maybe really what you've been struggling with is trading in top lane. Well, we got you covered with 4 different courses breaking down how to trade as a top laner. Not only do we have the largest catalog of guides for League of Legends in the entire world with over 1,500 videos to watch, but these are then curated by the top coaches and players into courses on every skill and topic you need to master in order to truly improve and climb the ladder. If all of this wasn't enough, we haven't even touched on our catalog of over 700 Smurf commentaries, where a challenger expert shows you how to climb out of your rank and you're guaranteed to get any questions answered by them directly. Not to mention, we're the only service to offer a rank improvement guarantee. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a refund, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Head to SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below.
That's going to bring us to the end of this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.